For our first story, we have Am I the ass for refusing to cater to one student's dietary restrictions when bringing snacks for my son's third grade class? My son's in the third grade, and his teacher asked if parents could help by bringing snacks throughout the year. Lunch is later in the day this year, so these snacks help tide the kids over. It's all voluntary, and the only request was to avoid peanuts. I've contributed a variety of snacks so far: Cheez-Its, beef jerky, fig bars, and Ritz crackers. My son mentioned that one girl in the class didn't like any of the snacks I brought. I didn't think much of it at the time. This week, I brought Madeleines and applesauce pouches. My son came home saying that this girl is now claiming allergies, being gluten-free, avoiding meat, and having a bunch of other dietary restrictions. I told my son, if her dietary needs are so strict, maybe her parents should be the ones responsible for her snacks. Being the good-natured kid he is, he mentioned this to both the girl and the teacher, which got back to her parents, who then complained to the school. The teacher, who has always been grateful for my contributions, is now in a tough spot and gently asked if I could bring snacks that fit this student's restrictions. Based on what I've heard, this girl's approved snack list is basically saltine crackers, butter noodles, and fruit snacks. To me, this seems more like a case of pickiness than medical necessity. I told the teacher I understood her situation and that I'd love to keep helping with snacks, but I'd like to continue to bring the type of snacks I've been supplying, and if one student can't partake, it should be up to that student's parents to provide for her. My wife thinks I'm being an asshole for putting the teacher in a tough spot. I just want to keep bringing snacks that the rest of the kids enjoy. Am I the ass? That's the end of our first post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, she isn't gluten-free if saltines and butter noodles are on the list. Our second commenter says, saltine crackers, butter noodles, and fruit snack, yet the first two are certainly not gluten-free. Applesauce packets sound awesome and certainly fit the criteria. Our third commenter says, not the asshole. If these were real food allergies, the parents would have told the school about them at the beginning of the school year. I think that the student is a picky eater, and her parents need to supply her snacks if she needs special food. For our second story, we have, am I the ass for considering ending my not terrible marriage because being a stepfamily just isn't working? My husband, 40 male, was a widower when we met. I, 36 female, was a single woman who had never been married before. My husband has a daughter, April, 13, from his first wife. April was 5 when her mom died, 7 when my husband and I met, 8 when she and I met, and 11 when we got married. Things with April were okay before I got pregnant. And by okay I mean we weren't very close and she wasn't calling me mom or saying she loved me. But we got along well and she said she had no issues with us getting married. She was in the wedding as her dad's best person. All was good. Then I got pregnant with our son, who is now 4 months old, and it all changed. She was furious when she learned we were expecting. She told us she would not be okay with that and she asked her dad how he could do that to her and her mom. From that moment on she was hostile to me and very angry and lashed out at me, my husband, and anyone who tried to say she was going to be a big sister or described our son as her little brother. We got her into therapy and we did family therapy. April refused to speak. We tried to find a therapist who'd click for us but she wouldn't talk. Then we did find a therapist that made April speak one time and she spoke to say she did not want to work with us or make things better. She would not say why or answer any questions the therapist asked her. She didn't address it with her individual therapist either. They worked on other stuff. But that wasn't enough to help her come around. People said once our son was born, once she looked at him, she'd fall in love and would go back to how she'd been before. That has not happened and she's aggressively against anything to do with him. She has never held him and we have no family photos of the 4 of us. It breaks my husband's heart. He has talked to his daughter and disciplined her but it does nothing. She will scream that he is not her brother and she's even against saying half because he's not my sibling at all. I can't speak to her at all now. Gone is the nice relationship we had and that makes me sad too. But this isn't working and our home no longer feels like a home. It feels like a house on the verge of collapse. I'm not sure I want to stay married and figure this out for another 5 years. I don't see any hope for it to get better, and even though my son will still have to be around, Maybe having 50% of the time be in a loving home would be better. I'd be happier even though I love my husband. When I confided in a friend, she told me I can't give up this fast and I'm not giving it time to get better. Am I the ass? That's the end of our second post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, Info, have you guys tried sending just her and your husband into therapy together? She might be more willing to open up if it's just him. At the very least, she can just sit and listen to him talk to the therapist. Also, are her maternal grandparents still in the picture? Do you and your partner get along with them? Maybe if April hears from them that they know her mom, their daughter would have been okay with this, wanted her dad to be happy, that might help. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I know the chances of her coming around seem slim, but hopefully when she gets older, she'll recognize the mistakes she is making. Personally, I wouldn't jump to separation yet, since it's only been a few months. My kids took time to adjusting to each new sibling and there wasn't even any trauma for them to deal with. Kids can get extra touchy with new babies getting all the attention or her seeing people fuss over you. Make sure that her dad takes her out, just the two of them, for fun things as well. But let this new situation, and maybe hormones, sleep deprivation, settle before making any life-changing decisions. Not the asshole. Our second commenter says, greater than people said once our son was born, once she looked at him, she'd fall in love and would go back to how she'd been before. LMAO. I just came to ask who TF were these delusional people. Look at him and fall in love. Really? That's something you say to a nervous, soon-to-be parent. They couldn't have had any real experience with this situation. It rarely happens that siblings, especially older ones, who want nothing to do with the baby, and are vehemently opposed to it, flip the switch because they see the new kid. They don't see the baby and think, ah, how cute, I love them so much. They see the baby and just think this is the drooling, puking, shit monster that's turning my world upside down. Our third commenter says, no judgment, but I'd be concerned about your son being with her during your husband's custody time with him if you divorce. Just something to consider since she is part of the household. And honestly, it sounds as if you would be giving her what she wants, which I don't know if that's a good thing. For our last story, we have, am I the ass for refusing to forgive my ex-best friend and other friends even after 6 years later? I, 28 female, used to be best friends with Anna, 28 female, since high school. She was popular and outgoing while I was the introverted, nerdy friend. In high school, I had a crush on Ethan, 28 male, but I assumed he'd prefer Anna, so I stayed out of it. They started dating and I supported her with reluctance because of their toxic, on and off relationship. Over time, I grew to dislike Ethan because he was rude and mean. They broke up when we were 21, but got back together with him a year later and eventually got engaged at 23. 3 months before the wedding, Ethan drunkenly called me, asking why I rejected him. I dismissed him and said he was drunk and ended the call. The very next day, I was kicked out of group chats and ghosted by everyone else in our friend circle. When I texted my friends to ask what happened, they gave me the silent treatment. When I reached out to Anna, I found myself blocked. Desperate, I even tried calling Ethan, but my number was blocked too. I had no idea what I'd done wrong and I wished anyone would tell me. That week was hell. Anna's silence hurt the most because, at the time, she meant everything to me. I barely slept, battling panic attacks at night while trying to keep it together for class during the day. If not for my supportive roommates who helped me through my panic attacks, I don't know how I would have made it through. Anna and I attended the same local university but took different courses. I waited for her outside her class. When she came out with her friends, I pulled her aside and asked what was going on. She accused me of being a fake friend who tried to steal Ethan. I denied her accusation and asked for proof, but she went silent and left. They didn't unfriend me on Facebook, but kept posting about their hangouts and the bridal shower, along with indirect jabs at me. I eventually deleted my old account and changed my number. I slowly rebuilt my self-esteem and moved on. I recently created a new Facebook account. A few days ago, I was added to a group chat for our upcoming reunion, which I had no idea about. They greeted me, calling me class president, as if they hadn't shunned me 6 years ago. I left the group, but they messaging me. Anna kept calling, so I finally picked up out of annoyance. She told me that she was sorry for everything and wished for me to come to the class reunion party. The party didn't seem to be complete without the class president every year. She told me that she divorced Ethan after 2 years of marriage. She tried to reach out to me but couldn't find any of my socials or contact info after we graduated. I asked her why she was telling me all this when she was not important to me anymore. She cried. I ended the call and continued ignoring their messages on Messenger. My family says forgiveness is for my own peace and that it doesn't mean forgetting. But I don't feel anything anymore, only indifference. I don't owe them anything to ease their guilt. So, am I the ass? P.S. I originally posted this in the other main subreddit, but it was deleted. I was advised to share an Am I the Ass relationship instead. Unfortunately, I'm unable to reply to those who leave encouraging comments. I share it here because I needed advice too. Even now, I still wonder why I was ghosted and shunned like that. I want to know the truth, but I'm not sure if I can trust any of them. That's the end of our last post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, greater than 3 months before the wedding, Ethan drunkenly called me, asking why I rejected him. You know what happened, right? Ethan wanted to date you but Anna told him you rejected his interest so he'd date her, and him calling you made her feel threatened that her shady actions might be found out, so she then made up more lies that turned other friends against you. Now it's been long enough, and Ethan is no longer around, that she feels safe bringing you around again, so she hit you up. Odds are others told her to reach out because y'all were such good friends, and if you refuse to go, she'll tell them something that makes you look bad as your reason. Regardless of whether you go or not, I'd contact someone who will be there and tell them that you won't attend because of the horrible way Anna treated you and that you just wanted someone to know the truth so that Anna can't lie about you yet again. Don't go if you don't want to, but don't let her get away with lying about you again. Our second commenter says, if I was you I'd steer clear. The fact that you said you had to rebuild yourself says a lot. For being such good friends, they sure abandoned you without even trying to see your side. They are either all dumb as fuck or not worth another thought. Our third commenter says, sorry Anna, I will always think of you as a backstabbing $. Then live a great life. That's all for today. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.